Everyone we see is a reflection of us. Something's been coming across my mind lately, and I've recorded something about how they're always trying to make us sick. And where do they put all the byproducts and the wastage? Something I've come up with is more of a hypothetical to think about. Now, forgive me at the moment because I'm currently doing a painting at the same time. But this one's interesting thought because what I think about is about disease, about sicknesses and illnesses. And my hypothetical to ponder is, what if diseases never exist, or never existed, or they don't exist? Now, the human body gets ill, it gets sick, it needs rest, it needs to recover. But you heal. It's a sign of the body needing to take rest and regenerate cells and all of this sort of stuff. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the major diseases that you need to get medications for, or you need to get hospitalized and get doctors and all of this to heal and to look at you and diagnose you with a symptom and sickness. Even just saying it sounds wrong. So, don't get me wrong, you look at the past events, you look at the current times, and you look at all of this, and you can say, well, how can you say that sickness and illness doesn't exist? My mom has this, or my friend knows this person, or look at that person, they clearly have an illness. It's true. It's true. I'm not denying the existence of the illness. I'm just saying, where did we learn it? Where does your heritage come from in terms of illness? They say, oh, it's hereditary. But what if it's not? What if it's only hereditary because everyone in your family keeps telling you it's hereditary? It's genetic. But it's only becoming genetic because they tell you, and then you think about it, therefore you've created the issue, therefore it remains. And this is my point. How many diseases that have been going around that you know of, where did you learn it? I've said this before about where did we learn about it? In history or in biology or chemistry and these sort of things. Or we learned it from our parents, but where did they learn it from? These are the questions that, if I was to say the disease polio or scurvy, where did you find those sort of ones? Well, they were in the history classes, in the school textbooks. And where did you learn about penicillin and what that cures? So ask yourself, if you hadn't known any disease, if you haven't known any sickness or illness, would you have it? Would your body and your mind therefore create a problem? No. You might get something like a bacterial infection, but your body is there to recover it. That's what your immune system does. But if you didn't know about disease, then your brain and your thought doesn't go there. It goes on surviving and living and generating power within the body and all the stuff that the body was designed to do. So this is my hypothetical. What if disease never actually occurred? We don't know this. I'm sure there are people out there that go, yes, this happened. Well, yes, it probably did, but who released it? Who created it? Where did it come from? Was it just a thought manifestation? How long ago was all the major diseases? Were they released? Did people think about them, and because they thought about it so much and were afraid of it happening, they actually created it? Maybe their body made them sick. It's interesting. We talk about all of these airborne stuff, and I'm sure it is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say that they don't exist full stop and listen to me. No, I'm just saying as a hypothetical, think about it for a second that if your brain can create or manifest realities, what is stopping the people in power from making your brain think on a negative scale by generating sickness? So, we all know modern warfare times, they use biological warfare and try to make people sick. And they're able to manipulate the body and the structures to immobilize people with sickness and sound and all of this sort of stuff. Yes, absolutely. But if enough people thought that it didn't exist, would it continue to exist? If the wavelength and the power of the mind can create beautiful scenarios, then surely if everyone just stopped thinking about all the negative thoughts and all the diseases and the sicknesses, they would cease to exist, would they not? For if there is no energy assigned to a subject, does it cease to exist? Does it exist at all? They talk about how things come back around in circles from fashion and ideas, because as soon as one person's doing it or a celebrity and then more people think about it and more people adopt it, the more it comes back into reality. If a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Does the tree fall at all? How do we know that it fell if no one is there? These are the things that the thought think about. These are the things that, if you sit down and ponder it for a second, could a lot of the problems that we are facing in today's world is because people are being manipulated to think a certain way, to think a certain thought. Now, especially when it comes to disease and cancers and sunscreens and this sort of stuff, there is an endless supply of advertisements telling you one way or another. But ask yourself, why should they advertise against something to then sell you a product for it? What is the purpose? What is the meaning? Why does it exist? If they have to advertise to tell you or inform you about something, then you know they have an agenda. You know that they have an underlying meaning to try to sell you their product or manipulate your mind to believe one way or another. So we'll talk about sunscreen for a second. It's a hot topic. Does the sun cause cancer? Well, in my belief, no, it doesn't. But they have tricked people to believing that it does. Does it burn your skin? Yes. There's a couple of scientists out there who have, you can see it on YouTube and TikTok and all of this, that they talk about how sunglasses, if you wear them during a sunny day, your eyes don't react. Therefore, your skin pores don't close, which means that you get burnt easier. So people are wearing sunglasses to protect their eyes, but then their eyes don't realize how hot it is, so they get burnt faster. So then they tell you that the sun causes cancer, so you need to wear sunscreen. And then they sell you a product for it. Yeah, we all know aloe vera helps. We all know that there are chemicals in the sunscreen that can react under the heat of the sun that then seep into your pores. This is true. Now, I'm not telling you that sunscreen is bad in one certain way, but instead of using sunscreen, if you have to, find one that's non-toxic or natural. Don't buy the chemical branded ones you find everywhere. Find something that's more natural to wear. At least then you're doing your body some good. But you see, again, it's a manipulation of thought. It doesn't matter what type of disease it is. Everyone has been manipulated in a certain way to potentially believe that diseases can be hereditary, or you can catch this from someone. Well, their DNA and their gene structure is different to yours. Maybe you won't, but because we've been ingrained and brought up that if someone has the cold and we're near them, we'll get the cold, because as soon as you harp on and start seeing them or hearing them sniffle and this sort of thing, your brain automatically goes into, well, now you think you're going to get sick. So ask yourself, was it the person that made you sick, or was it the thought that that person is sick and you don't want to get it? Therefore, your energy is placed upon the sickness, therefore you get it. So my hypothesis there and my theory is that a disease is only as strong or as powerful as the intention or the thought you place behind it. Doesn't mean diseases will cease to exist. Well, maybe in the future, yeah. Does it mean right now? Well, probably not. There are too many things out there that already say that it's one way or another. Do I think the human body is capable of generating and healing these diseases? Absolutely. Do I think most of them are man-made? Yeah, I do. I really do. A lot of the stuff in today's world when it comes to disease has been man-made, and it's to keep you in that state. It's to keep you paying the high prices and the heavy dollars to get healed. But as they say, a healed patient is not a good patient, because they don't need and spend money. It's like that light bulb. You know, they used to make light bulbs that would last for a very long time, but it wasn't good for business, so they actually engineered it to make it less strong. Why? Because then people bought more. So instead of doing things for the humanitarian side or the betterment of human nature and kind, people got greedy. People chose money and power and position over growth and humanity, and disease is no different. Our people in high places want you sick, and if there are too many people on this earth, it'll go to the nth degree to believe it was an outbreak or a crisis or an existential moment in time. Maybe all of these moments that you hear about, the plagues that took over the world, was just them releasing their man-made diseases upon the people to make them sick, to eradicate them from the world, to reduce the population. Just a thought. You can't put it past them about it. All of this stuff is just my own thought. But if you sit down and find again, where did you learn about diseases? Where did you learn about all of this stuff? And if you learned it from someone else, well, where did they learn it from? Follow the trail. Why do you even think about that? Why do we not heal? We hear stories of how people stood around bedsides praying and the person miraculously healed through energy and thought and prayer. There's plenty of them going around. And the doctors are amused. They don't know how it happened. It must have been a miracle. Well, that's true, because, like you say, the power and the energy of the mind can create miracles. This is why they don't want you to know this. This is why Western medicine is not here to heal you. It's here to mask the problem, so you keep coming back. You're a client to their business. You sign up for it as soon as you think about it. That's why they teach it in schools. They want your brain manipulated to believe a certain way about medicine and disease and culture. That natural remedies are not the way to go. They're ludicrous or outlandish. It's a waste of time. It's bad for your body. The sun is bad for your body. You must wear sunscreen. What lunacy? It's heresy to think. So ask yourself, if you put sunscreen on your skin thinking that you're going to get a tan, or thinking that you won't get your vitamin D because you've got your screen on, but then you have to take all your vitamin D tablets and all the tablets to get all your vitamins, does that sound natural to you? Does that sound healthy? Is that what we're teaching our kids? We must wear sunscreen? Well, yes, wear a hat, wear long sleeves. The sun can still penetrate through clothing. You can still adopt all the vitamin D, even if you wear long sleeves. But no, we want to have the golden tan. So we then buy tanning lotion. You see, everything is a sales pitch. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Everything is a sales pitch. But then we don't know what's hidden inside, because when you read it, you believe in the people who are trying to tell you that they know better. They're apparently the scientists who know about sunscreen. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure all the scientists who have worked very hard in disease and prevention of disease have worked really hard to make sure your life is healthy and safe when it comes to their diseases. And you really trust them. So as a hypothesis, I say to you this. Where do you think a disease comes from? I mean, really, not from, well, it comes from here, or it comes from a dog. Yeah, rabies can come from a dog, from a savage dog, because the bacteria in the dog. Okay, where did we learn that? We saw it live. Then what happens? You get an infection. What does your body do? It tries to fight the infection. So, again, your body is trying to fight it. What do? Then they have treatments for those sort of things. So, would you say, where does that come from then? Well, that comes from the dog. Did we create the rabies bite? Or did the dog create the rabies bite? Or did it exist because someone had a thought a long time ago? Or we only knew about it because we heard about it and we manifested it? Just saying. You could do it with anything. How does it exist? How did it become? And why is there disease? Is it to make the body stronger? Is it to heal all the parts of us so we can go to certain places? Or is it another way that if you go to this country, you must take this vaccine or this medicine to protect you from the environment? Is it another way for you to be indoctrinated into a belief that you must have all these shots, tetanus shots and flu shots against all of these problems? Yeah, it could be. So yeah, that's just my thought. I would like to propose to you. Not saying that it's true. Not saying that at all. But if you're willing to ponder the thought or the possibility that everything is just a matter of the mind, And the ones that are in charge have been able to manipulate the history books, the medical books, the school teachings, and those of the families and the parents through the generations of misguided trust. And you might ponder that thought too. And if not, that is okay as well. If you think I'm a lunatic or crazy, that I could even harbor the idea. Maybe you had a family or relative who contracted a disease and therefore I must be wrong. Well, then I am happy to be proven wrong. But I'm not here to argue the science behind how something exists in the current world. I'm here to clearly state that there is a potential of how did it begin? And where did we learn how it began? And why does it remain in our mind to this day? And with that, peace and love and light, take care.